Oh my god, I can't believe I bought this watch. This is so different to the style of watches that I normally look at. It's not even a mechanical watch, but it is funky, it's interesting, and I love it. Let's check it out. Hello, you're watching James. My name's James. You're watching me, and I am talking about watches. Well, today I've bought another Bulova. A Bulova watch which I actually really like because it's really different. Certainly a very different style for me. It's also a quartz watch, which is not generally what I'm drawn towards, but this watch really captured my attention. The only real problem with it is that it was rather expensive. This one here is the Bulova parking meter. It's supposedly a limited release, but it's a limited release of 5,000 watches. And for me, that's not really that limited. But hey, I guess there's only going to be 5,000 of them, so it's limited to 5,000. But the problem isn't the limitations of the numbers of these watches. The problem for me was the price, because the full recommended retail of this particular watch is around $900 US. Yes, it's a cool watch from a cool brand and it's interesting, but $900 US for a quartz watch? I don't see the value in that, even if it isn't really well made. But I got it for around about a quarter of that price. And at that price, I absolutely had to buy it. I wanted this one in my collection. But what has surprised me so much is how much I actually like it. It's really, really cool. So in the first impressions style video, let's check out this Bulova parking meter. Let's flip the camera around and let's have a look. Well, as soon as I saw the packaging, which is really nice, I could certainly see that this was going to be a next level Bulova, because the other Bulova watches I have a much smaller, much more simple packaging. This comes with the outer packaging and a really nice solid inner packaging, displaying the watch there with the Accutron sort of tuning fork there, I guess, which is kind of a cool feature. Now you can pull this whole section out, and inside we've got the hang tag, we've got the warranty card, and we've got information about the watch. But of course we're here to actually see the watch, not so much the packaging, even if it is nice. And I have to say, as soon as I pulled this one out of the packaging, three things stood out to me very, very quickly. Firstly is the quality of this watch. This is really nice quality. Not only does it feel good, but the brushing's good. There's a fair bit of weight to it. We've got different colors. We've got some anodized sort of blue here, then silver, done really well. It really does feel like a premium watch. And that continues onto this strap as well. It's a beautiful strap, very sort of premium feeling. And it definitely tells you that it is a limited release, because this one here is number sort of 4,000 and something out of 5,000. So the idea being it's a more premium version for them, or a premium watch for them, and it is a limited release. Second thing that stood out to me is obviously the look. This is a really interesting looking watch. In fact, if you do that, it doesn't really even look like a watch. It might look like more of a stop-start timer kind of thing. But it is really cool, very interesting. And they call it the parking meter, not because of all this stuff, but because of this little shape in the middle there. You can see it looks like an old school parking meter. And the idea behind this one, it was meant to be a reinterpretation of a watch that they released in the 70s. The one from the 70s is a mechanical watch. This one's quartz, unfortunately. Well, at least fortunately, it then makes it affordable enough for me to personally buy at the price that I bought it. And the third thing that stood out to me, again, this strap. It is wonderful. It's one of the nicest straps I've come across. Not only is it a lovely color, it feels nice, it is definitely leather, and has one of my favorite things about straps, which this one has a rather interesting sort of shape. There's sort of a bulge here, then a second bulge. It's nice to have something a little bit like that on a watch strap, just to give it an extra little bit of feature. The hardware on it is also really nice, and it says Bulova there. As I was mentioning with the dial, we've got these blue silver sort of colorways with the little pops of orange there on the hands, as well as the other sort of sub hands. So how does this one work? Well, nice and easy. Top left one starts the chronograph, top left one pauses the chronograph, top right one resets the chronograph. The middle one there then adjusts the time, and the bottom actually changes or moves that internal rotating bezel. So we have an internal rotating bezel, which is very cool. But just check out what's going on there. We've got a tachymeter in blue, we got the numbers on there in silver, we then switch back to blue, and then we switch back into silver, and we've got these orange pops. Got a date wheel over there at the 3 o'clock, the Bulova written onto the dial there at the 9. It's funky. I really, really like it. And the blue or the anodized steel there, it's really different. I've never had that on a watch, and it suits this one so well. I'm glad they didn't overuse it. I think it just really adds to the whole features of this watch. And the quality of the brushing, it's really good. And check out the curvature to that case. Now that really comes into effect when you stick this one on wrist, because it is really quite interesting how well it sits down on wrist because of that curvature. But one thing you're going to notice when you're looking down here, I'm on the last hole of this strap, and that now sits fairly tight for me, and I kind of need to wear it tight because it is a little bit top heavy, this one. I can wear it on the next one, but then it does bobble around. What that means is if you've got a smaller wrist than mine, smaller than 6 3/4 or 17 centimeters, then you're not going to be able to use this strap. It also means that the tail really sticks up for me, which I'm okay with, but it would be nicer if it was tucked away a little bit further down here. But as you can see, it actually sits on wrist really nicely, especially when you look down that way. Wow, it really hugs down because of that cutaway on the base of that case. Now, not everybody's going to like this style, especially sort of no sort of lugs coming out. It sort of sits like a bit of a spaceship on top of your wrist a little bit. But it's fun and it's really interesting, and I think it's going to be a watch that I really enjoy wearing. It's definitely going to be a different watch in my collection. It wouldn't be my number one go-to watch in my collection if I only had one watch, certainly, but it's certainly a really viable addition to my collection, something that's fun and interesting and really, really well made. I can already tell that it's going to be fun, and I'm really impressed by how well this one is made. As always, I'm going to have a full in-depth review coming out about this one once I have a really good handle on how the watch works, how the sort of intricate features of it sort of come together, and try and point out to you some really interesting parts of this watch. As always though, I do really appreciate you watching my videos, and I do hope to see you in the next one.